2017 year. But let's kick it off, actually, with this one here. The Well Play Invitational took place. It looks like it did officially wrap up, and Alliance, sure enough, did take home the title. They claimed their $5,000, their share of the $5,000 prize pool. It is of $3,500, and Team Empire, of course, finishing second. So this was a pretty straightforward event. It was all invited teams, 8 invited teams. Straight to the point, single elimination. So there wasn't any, fancy, not even a double. It was just, again, straight to the point, single elimination. Here you go. So, not the craziest tournament ever, but it's like I said, it's still good to have these kind of events, not only for the teams, but as spectators too. It definitely helps keep us entertained with some activity. What could be a little bit of an off time here, as obviously the Boston Major wrapped up and everything, and now we have the 7.00 batch, now 7.01, I guess technically, coming out. So. It's been a lot of fun kind of watching said events, and again, congratulations to Alliance taking it 3-1, it looks like. They took the first 2, Empire able to make it 2-1, but then Alliance in the end 3-1 over Empire. So that's got to feel good for Alliance. Alliance, again, have been talking a bit about them. They've been a little bit of a struggle of sorts. Now, again, it's not like they've been doing awful by any means, but they've been underperforming to an extent, especially with the history and the label that they bring. That is the Alliance brand. They're so used to seeing them pretty much at all these majors, every single big tier event, and they've kind of had some hiccups throughout. They were not at the Summit. They were not at the Boston Major, obviously. They were at DreamHack, of course, which they finished second in, if I'm not mistaken, or even third maybe. But anyways, the point is they have had a little bit of a roller coaster here. But, sure, this is a minor event again, but still, it's got to feel good for them getting that out of the way, getting that victory. So congratulations to Alliance taking home that title right there. Another event that is actually still going on and that I've been following quite a bit for obvious reasons, the Pro Dota Cup European region, we'll start with the European region first, is getting towards the finish, but we're not there just yet. As you can see, they are currently at the losers bracket final portion, or I guess more so the losers semifinals. Is this going to be happening later today? Looks like, okay, this is not going to resume until 2017. So, yeah, this is what I'm talking about, throwing these events around the holiday season, going into the new year. It's bound to have this issue, unfortunately, and sure enough, it looks like they are having a delay right here. But we are down to 4 teams. 4 teams, right? Yeah, Friends actually going to the grand finals. How about that? They took out Danish Bears 2-1, and now Friends in the grand finals. Friends actually picking up a couple of new players, which again, we'll go over this more in just a second, but Big Num and Aloha Dance. Aloha Dance, especially somewhat of a big name there in the CIS region. So this Friends team, how about that in the grand finals? We'll see how they finish overall, but going to have that 1-0 advantage, it looks like, in said grand finals. They're set to play the winner of eventually Danish Bears, whoever plays them, will be Rebels versus Sanguine Sharks, as we see. So Rebels did take out Evil Corporation, of course, a noticeable game there, and a little bit disappointed. Only a 1-game series, so it's tough. Rebels, a very good team. Can't say I'm surprised at this result, but obviously Evil Corporation, one of these teams that I am following closely myself, being some Han Trash players on it. But in the end, it looks like they came up short here as. Overall, somewhat of a tough game for them. It looks like about a 25-minute game or so in favor of Rebels right there. So, but still, finishing 5th, 6th place, no prize pool, but hey, it's still a respectable finish for them, considering there's definitely some quality teams in this event. But looks like this one's going to be resuming, though, again, into the new year, so I'll have to wait there to see how that one plays out. Another tournament that's been going on, again, I've been doing a little bit of coverage of myself at the official coverage, but not throughout these playoffs because I've been away on holiday, but it's still been happening. Now, from my understanding, they are running into some delays here now, but the American region now of the Pro Dota Cup also taking place. See the playoff version here. We had Team Freedom getting to the winter finals. Not surprised there against Infamous, the 2 teams you really would have expected to get to the winter bracket finals. And sure enough, Freedom did take out Infamous 2-1. Gotta say, I wish I could have watched that match. It looks like actually pretty quick games overall. A little interesting seeing that. But these 2 teams, they are no doubt the top 2 teams in this tournament right here. And I've been saying that since early on in the group stages, and sure enough, that's kind of how it's shaping up. So Freedom awaiting in the grand finals. Infamous in the losers finals, they play the winner of the Doo-Wop SG Esports Series. Now, from my understanding, I was in the chat there, I was mentioning this earlier, so originally this was supposed to be happening later on tonight. However, because of some delays that have been taking place, some postponements, it looks like this tournament also will be postponed a little bit. Doo-Wop versus SG instead going to be happening tomorrow right now. The winner of that versus Infamous, and then the winner of that, of course, versus Freedom. So, again, we'll keep an eye on how that finishes up. But it looks like it's going to be heading into the new year with it. One more tournament that is worth talking about that currently is taking place, actually, that is just getting started today, from my understanding, is what's called the Royal Arena number 2. So the Royal Arena number 2, the 6-team European competition, as it's labeled here. 6 direct invited teams. Another one of these looks like a $5,000 prize pool yet again. So that kind of seems to be the trend right here. These $5,000 prize pool tournaments coming out. Obviously, all very quality teams. You got Alliance, Danish Bears, aka former Imperial, which I'm still can't believe they haven't announced their new team just yet. Something must have happened there with that announcement, or I don't know, but it feels a little odd that they still haven't announced their new team. You got Horde, Rebels, Empire, and Vega Squadron. Again, all very, very quality teams here. They played a mini group stage tournament, I guess, and then the top 2 of the 3 advance on to the playoffs, where it is double elimination. So this is kind of like almost like a mini major with only a $5,000 prize pool. Obviously, you don't take that lightly there. But as far as the format goes and everything, it's kind of funny how it's shaping up like that. So, but again, I believe this kicks off today, and there's a chance I might cast some of this just on my own time, of course. I believe, from my understanding, it's casted on Hitbox officially. Now, I know there's that issue there where you got to be careful casting on Twitch. Like I said, talking about this, I mean, maybe casting it, that if I'm told that, if I'm asked please not to cover it, then, of course, I will not do so. But I don't think it hurts to at least maybe try and see if that is a thing or not. So. We'll see. We'll see what it comes down to. Anyways, the point is there's some pretty good matches here, so it could be pretty entertaining to watch for certain. But I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on it at the very least, and it looks like it's supposed to happen throughout this week here. Again, into the new year, I believe, too. I don't know exactly when all the matches, like, let's see, does it have a date yet? No, there's no dates for the playoffs or anything. So I guess the group stages. Okay, so Group A is today. So Horde, Empire, and Alliance are supposed to play the matches today, and then Vega Squadron, Danish Bears, and Rebels plays tomorrow. I do find it a little bit interesting, going back to it real quick, that Alliance and Horde are in the same group. I feel like they kind of screwed them there. I wonder if they just randomly chose the groups. Because I feel like they could have at least put Alliance and Horde in different groups. I mean, not that they deserve to be, but it just, personally, it feels like it just makes a little more sense. But, obviously, I don't think there's any clear-cut favorite in this tournament. Obviously, all these are very quality teams, and even looking at the groups, I don't think either one is a little bit stronger than the other. I think both are actually very quality groups. I think maybe you could lean towards Group A being a little bit tougher overall, but it's not really. I don't think there's a clear-cut favorite. I think both are actually pretty equal in the end. So, all right. That's it for results and what's coming up as far as tournaments. Real quickly, though, before we wrap up here in the daily recap, there's one more thing to talk about, and I'm sure even a little bit more to come as time goes on here. Some updates on some rosters here. In fact, there's a Reddit post going on that actually was doing a good job of tracking the roster situation. Let me see if it's still up here. Might make it a little bit easier to go over what the hell's been happening. Okay, it looks like maybe gaming friends. Okay, there is somewhat of an update here. I'll pull this up here, or I'll pull it over right here. But, okay, so looking at this real quickly, there's been a couple of roster changes going on with some teams. Sorry, had some potatoes for my lunch there. In the China scene, I know there's been some moving around a little bit going on, as you see down here. Freeze, FY, and HYM all moving teams, it looks like. Moving teams like VG Gaming. VGJ, yeah, this is that new team in the new roster right here. Aggressive, Freeze, ROTK, FY, and Fenrir. That seems like a very quality team. Now, again, I'm somewhat newer to the competitive scene in general, especially the Chinese Dota 2 scene, but I definitely recognize a couple of these players here, to say the least. And that could be a pretty scary team in the China region and coming about. So, of course, most noticeably, though, was the Na'Vi roster situation officially announced. And you look at Na'Vi now, picking up 3 new players. They have Dendy and General from before, but now you got Pycat, RMN, and Biver. How about that? I'm so excited for that because now I will admit, initially, it didn't really hit me that Biver specifically as a former Han Pro. Now, he wasn't necessarily on the level of, like, the State Greens or Fanatics or anything like that, but he was a Han Pro. He did compete, I believe, in some of the earlier Han Tours, if I'm not mistaken, as well as some DreamHacks previous to that. And, I actually had a chat with him after the announcement was made to kind of remind myself, that's right, that's who that is. So, excited to see Viver here and how he performs on Navi's roster now. And again, PyCat joining the roster as well. I know he's definitely quite the popular player, considered to be a very, very good player at that. And, it's kind of wondering when he was going to be able to join a quality organization such as Navi once again. So he's now part of the team. This new Navi roster is going to be fun to watch. And as always, having Dendy on the team in that mid role is, of course, entertainment in itself. So definitely excited for the Navi roster. That's kind of been the big one so far that has been announced as far as a new roster and everything across the board. Other than that, there really hasn't been a whole lot of craziness. I mean, a lot of teams are sticking together really for the most part, and on that Reddit post, actually, it kind of enforces that. A couple other minor changes here. Yapster no longer part of Escape, so we'll see who the new Escape. I believe he played the 3 role for them, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, actually, they're down to just 3 players now, I guess. So, Era, Quake Fun, Cinderin are currently the 3-man roster of Escape Gaming. So that's going to be another team to see who they replace with there. And then again, Jiang on Sanguine Sharks now. I don't really know if that's really that important. Anyways, over to the Reddit post here. You got some finalized rosters coming about. Again, all these big name teams, really as expected, have their finalized rosters in here, it looks like. So, wait, is VGJ, is that really Jeremy Lin's team? Is that really? That's awesome if that's the case. I can't say I was aware of that. Anyways, anything noteworthy here? I guess Team Spirit's kind of interesting. FNG, Vanscore, they're from the CIS region. Of course, Keizu on Team Circuit. They have their roster now. Yeah, nothing really else worth. Oh, yeah, the Myth roster, again, we talked about that. All former Han pros. Really excited for these guys. The new Myth Trust roster there, coming out of Thailand. So, all right, but that should really cover it, though, for the daily recap, guys. It's going to be back on what is now December 28th, 2016. Going to be a strong finish to the 2016 year, I'm sure, and going into 2017, a lot more to come. So, I want to thank you guys for tuning into this daily recap here. Hopefully, you guys appreciated it and enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time here on the daily recap. Be sure to check me out on Twitch, live at twitch.tv/BreakyCPK.